Hi everyone.
Hello.
Rob.
And Rich.
Alright, so today we're talking about pranayama, and it's the fourth limb of the 8-limb path of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Ashtanga means 8 in Sanskrit, and so in this sutra it's second chapter, 49th sutra, and Rob's going to chant the sutra first.
So we have Tasmin sati svasa prasvasayaha gati vichedaha pranamayaha. Or,
with asanas having been done, pranayama is the ceasing of the movement of inhalation and exhalation. So, to put it simply, pranayama is either inhale, exhale, or retention. So, simply put, those are the three things that happen in pranayama.
and the inhale is known as puraka, the exhale is known as recheka, and breath retention, whether it's internal, is antar kumbhak, or external, bahir kumbhak.
Yeah, so as it says, once the asana practice is strong and our concentration is good, our bodily sensations are acute, then we can begin the pranayama practice. Sitting strongly, sitting effortlessly with the spine straight. And as far as position of the body, in pranayama we want to be sitting in a seated posture. It can be cross-legged, in padmasana, or depending on the pranayama. And the spine, depending on the pranayama, is going to be in a certain position. So
Usually straight up and down, though.
Part of that is for the reason of the movement of the energy moving up the spine and down the spine. There's 3 energy centers, or
Nadis, actually, energy channels. And where spine is the literal physiological form of the central channel, which is known as Sushumna, which is actually an energetic form. And the 2 side channels are Ida and Pingala. Ida is moon, also associated with the feminine night. And Pingala is seen as red, and it's associated with the sun and the daytime, and their termination and the right termination point on the right nostril, and left termination point on the left nostril for Ida. So pretty interesting subtle energy network that we have inside, and those 3 energy channels, Ida terminates in the left nostril, Pingala terminates in the right nostril, and the central channel, Sushumna, which goes up the full spine. Those are the main channels that we're dealing with when you're talking about the main pranic energy channels, or where the main pranic energy flows.
There's 72,000, they say 72,000 of these channels that are throughout the whole body, but those 3 that Robert was talking about are the main channels. And could you say something about the crisscross of the...
Okay, so if you were to schematically see that from the spine goes straight up, and we have the Sushumna. Now, the left and right channels, they start at the base of your spine at the perennial floor, and they basically spiral up the central channel. For instance, starting at the base of the perennial floor, they'll spiral up much like this. From the base, they'll go up and meet at the sacral plexus, just behind the pubic bone. Then they'll cross and meet again at the navel plexus. They'll cross, meet again at the heart. Cross, meet again at the throat. Cross, meet again at that eyebrow center and then cross and terminate at each nostril point. So, little stretch, because I'm just using my fingers for the schematic, but if you can see it like that, the energy centers, known as the chakras, are where these points actually cross. And it so happens that at these points you have the physiological bodies of our major glandular and internal organs that reside at these particular places. Just as an example, the heart, the thymus reside approximately at the heart center along the spine, where the channels actually cross again right here, and so on. If we go up to the throat, you have thyroid, parathyroid, and so on. So plexus of nerves and organs and glands that are very important are residing approximately in the area where the left and right channels and the central channel cross each other.
As far as the pranayama exercises, there's these three things that happen within each pranayama exercise. So attention of a location in the body. So when we're doing the pranayama, there's some place in the body where we're focusing our attention on. The second one is the duration of the breath, and the third is the number of times you do this exercise. So those are the three general guidelines for pranayama. As far as doing the actual pranayama, it's really important that you have a teacher that's versed in pranayama who is taking into account your doshas, your Ayurvedic
Constitution?
Constitution, yeah. So that's a real important point, because pranayama can be very helpful or it can be very
obstructive.
Yeah. So it's really important that you're with somebody, learning from someone who is qualified to do that.
And yeah, to go on a little bit about that, pranayama should never be hurried. You shouldn't try to go right away to advanced pranayama practice. You should always start off with the simplest and easiest practices, because they prepare your first they prepare your lungs and the rest of your physical body for the higher vibrations or the higher frequency energy transfers that happen once the pranayamas are starting to be perfected and advanced. But they also prepare your mind, and they prepare your mind for these higher vibrational and spiritual responses that your mind and your body take as these pranayama practices advance in yourself. So you have to be kind of cautious, very slow moving, and only after some level of experience should you actually practice more of the advanced practices, after you've prepared your body and your mind with the simpler practices of the pranayama, the really basic pranayama practices. To go on a little bit more about that, we have the prana, and the prana, or the vital force, is most associated with breath. Prana actually resides everywhere, in everything. But within our body, and with most animals, prana is generally identified with the breath or breathing. So that's why we were saying inhale and exhale. And a little bit more about the inhale and exhale. With the inhale, of course, we're taking prana in, or oxygen in. And with the exhale, we're releasing the waste gases, the byproducts of that from our body out. But at the beginning of or at the end of the inhale or the exhale, there is a little space. So let me talk about this a little bit in relation to how the inhale, you can say metaphorically the inhale is, we're taking it in, but if you take that into your life, that's a matter of like grasping and bringing in, but this is a necessity. The breath is somewhat of a necessity, but it's also somewhat of a model of how we maybe grasp things and look for things and desire things. And then on the exhale, you can say that's a metaphorical, that's a literal part of a metaphorical pushing away or aversion. So you have this model of the breath that shows actually our habitual tendency in life of grasping and pushing away. But now you have kumbhak, which is the breath retention. It happens only for a moment at the top of the breath, in between inhale and exhale. But within pranayama practice, you're looking to cultivate the kumbhak, or the retention, whether that's holding the breath in naturally or holding the breath out naturally. So within that space of holding the breath in or out, there is a neutral space. And that neutral space is actually an indication of perhaps equanimity. compassion, joyfulness, neutrality, happiness. In that neutral space, all that is contained, as well as, you could say, a lot of negative aspects are contained there. But there is no one or the other. There's no grasping at dualities, as from that previous talk.
Right, yeah.
Within the neutral point.
The pairs of opposites.
The pairs of opposites are done away with.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. We're observing, it's interesting that it comes, this sutra comes right after a sutra that we talked about, of these pairs of opposites, and us observing and being aware of those pairs of opposites. This plays into the pranayama perfectly.